swing and a drive. Right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawley-Jean.
You are listening to the Fly the W podcast. This is episode 340. The first weekend of spring training games are in the books. Don't forget to listen, download, subscribe, and most importantly, review our podcast and follow at all our socials. I'm at Crawley's Cubs on X, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Crawley's Clubhouse at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Threads. You can email me at crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. And one guy that had plenty of games to go to this weekend was my good buddy, Steve Sher. And the reason I wanted to have you on, Steve, is to let people know how to make the best of their time at Sloan Park. And I asked myself, who better? What a fun weekend you had, it looked like. I was looking at your social media, Steve. Looked like you had a blast out there.
Oh, gosh, Crawley, let me tell you, I mean, spring training for me is the most wonderful time of the year. And there's really not a day of the year that I'm not willing to talk about spring training. The minute spring training ends, I'm already counting down to the schedule release, which usually comes around July or August, although I was gritting my teeth for a few extra months there because it didn't come out till right around November. Kind of irritating, but we got it, we planned it, and here we are.
And so, you were one of the first to get these photos here of outside Mesa. So you've never been to Mesa before. They have a lot of really cool pictures of a lot of the current players. Tell us a little bit. When did these go up?
These usually go up around roughly the third week in January. And for me, once you get that vibe, through social media, seeing the photographers out there, catching players showing up early, you begin to get that vibe. Okay, spring training's really coming along. Kind of like when you feel Christmas coming around. So where I work, I'm very close to Sloan Park. So occasionally I'll drive by, check things out, see what's going on. And, watching these posters go up, it's kind of like how some people go out waiting for Christmas decorations to go up. So these were up, I believe, January 18th is when I went by and saw these up.
Oh, yeah. For someone like me that's sitting here in the freezing cold, Chicago winter, seeing that is just really important. But if someone is going out to spring training the first time, one of the things I always feel like is really important, and this too, is that it's not just the game. There's a lot that's going on. And if you've never been out there, one of the things you can do is use this QR code, right? Tell our listeners where you find this QR code here.
So yeah, all throughout the backfields and even right outside of field one, as you navigate along the walk path toward the performance center, you can go into the entrance area for field one, where you can watch live BP, pitchers, fielding drills, and anything that they're doing over on field one that day. Scan that QR code and it will give you a rundown, which is relatively accurate. Of course, depending on weather, depending on lineup for that particular game, drills are subject to vary, and players on field 5 may end up on field 1 and vice versa. So it's kind of good to just keep an open mind when you go there. Okay, I may want to go see Bregman take BP on, field 1 because this is what the schedule says, but maybe they alter it later on. And then maybe you realize later on, oh, wow, Cade Horton's pitching the PCA over on field 6. I better go run around the complex and go check that out.
And this is what you're kind of talking about right here. This is a map of how it looks. And so a lot of people, they'll park in right field and not realize that there's this whole complex on the other side there. So if you're looking at this map, this is a map of Sloan Park. Here's Sloan Park. And where we all like to hang out is this area in between the Nike Performance Center and Sloan Park. But field 1 and field 2 is really where kind of the big names, the big league camp practices, right?
Generally for the most part. But again, if you want to go see some live BP, again, depending on what the schedule calls for that day, you may get some surprises and you might see Nico, Michael Bush, taking live BP on field 5. So really, again, just got to keep an open mind to what's going on. But yes, generally field 1, field 2, that's where people are generally going to congregate first, expecting to see the big players.
Now, I got this picture off your social media. This here is you in the backfields. And so, again, the backfields is where a lot of the younger players, again, some of the big names may come out there, but
Sure.
you could just walk back there and it's like a 4-leaf clover with all the home plates meeting in the middle. And so you can bump into players all the time and get autographs. This is one I took a couple of years back of, this is Moises Ballesteros, Mo Baller signing autographs. And again, if you're somebody that really loves prospects or up and coming Cubs, really the backfield is where you want to be.
Absolutely. And, you go out there and, some players will have the name on the back of their jersey. Some are just in the dry fit shirts, doing their own, drills. But as you go out there day after day, you get that facial recognition, certainly like our, friend Rich, he could spot anybody from a mile away. And it's just repetition. The more you're out there and the more time you spend around these guys, you just grow that familiarity.
Now, I want to put this up here just in case people didn't know. There is a place on one of the backfield that's called John Arguello Way.
Mhm.
And for those people that don't know, John, in the very early Wild West of Cubs Twitter, John was the expert when it came to Cubs prospects. There was nobody better. And he was a guy that if you went out to Arizona would walk you around and talk you and tell you all about every prospect. I mean, he just knew everyone like the back of his hand. And unfortunately, he passed away from cancer, and he was just an amazing guy. So, there's people, like I said, in the old Wild West of Cubs Twitter lore, that Cubs Den, the fact that the Cubs put that up there to honor him really means something. So if you are going in the backfields and you're kind of wondering what John Arguello Way is, I always want people to kind of realize just what a spectacular guy he was. And he is missed to this day. But when you're done going to the backfields, I always say if you're going to go, you want to get to that pathway in between the performance center and the field. But when you look there, I got this picture of myself and Russ Dorsey. That's field 1 right there. And
Correct.
field 1, that's where you can see all the big leaguers kind of getting some work done. And sometimes, right, they will sign right by the fence there.
Oh, absolutely. I was there last week, and I know Alex Bregman had come along the rail, and he had signed a couple autographs. PCA had walked by, he waved. And then, certainly some of the legends who are just coming by, walking around on the performance field, associating with the players around there. When they're done doing their, consulting, they'll walk by, they'll sign a couple autographs. I got a couple selfies with Lee Smith and Fergie Jenkins over there as well. So it is a little bit jammed up crowd. Don't treat it like a Pearl Jam concert. Don't lean up against the rail. Don't push people over. People will come. Treat the players like you would want to be treated. Hey, PCA. Hey, Alex, how you doing? Hope you have a great day. Can I get a photo with you? And instead of just throwing things at them, treat them how you would want to be treated, and you'll be surprised the reaction you get.
And so this is a picture right here of the tents, is the old Club 400 tent. That's on that pathway. And you could really see a lot of people that they're going to stop. They're going to get autographs. Here's a picture of you that you have with one of the top Cubs prospects, Jackson Wiggins. Yep. And like you said, I'm sure you just said, hey, Jackson, you mind taking a quick pic? I'd appreciate it, et cetera, right?
Absolutely. And he was more than willing to. He took several pictures. He autographed many balls as well. I didn't have any balls with me that day, but I'm just happy to get the picture and have the interaction. So he came by, and this was very close to game time. And it goes to show you really want to plan your day at Sloan Park ahead of time, because a lot of people had already gone into the game and we're like, you know what, we're going to hang out for a few minutes. And before you know it, about 5 to 8 minutes before game time, Jackson Wiggins walked by, Michael Busch walked by, Nico Horner walked by. Nico's walking by. Absolutely. What's better than that?
Yeah, and I just love that when they went, don't ever jump in front of a kid. The kids are there, and this kind of just shows you there's bushes, and they literally walk in between the bushes and sign for fans, and that's kind of makes you smile. And our friend Rich Feasterfeld is on here, and he's saying, look here, He's saying, like today when Alex Bregman was taking BP against several minor league pitchers, some of the wild things that you can see if you're just walking around and any given day. That's what makes, I think, going to Sloan, especially before the game, so magical is you don't know what you can expect on any given day.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people, what they tend to do is, and perhaps I'm getting ahead of myself, but a lot of people go line up along the first base, gate, wanting to get in and get a photo in front of the marquee, which is wonderful. But pro tip for you, if you're going to Sloan Park, do the marquee sign later in the game. When you're ready to go to the bathroom around the 4th or 5th inning, get yourself another beer, go do the sign real quick. I promise you, the line for the marquee will be a third of what it is when you go in when the gates open. So instead of wasting your time in line, go hang out along the walkway, go hang out on the backfields, and give yourself that experience that you're not going to get every day, certainly at Wrigley Field.
And here, taking a look right here, they have the lineups up early before anyone on social media, before the Cubs put it out. They have this there, and I always love looking at these and just kind of, I like the old fashionedness of somebody literally going out there and writing them down, right?
Yeah, and that's actually this is actually brand new this year. Since Sloan Park opened, along the right side wall of the team shop, they would have basically a dry erase board. It was cool, handwritten, but it wasn't as classy as this is. You got, a classic font. Somebody's obviously got some good penmanship there. And it looks a little bit more professional. You got the ivy green there, so it's a definitely nice touch.
Right, like the old scoreboard at Wrigley Field is what it looks like. And speaking of old scoreboards and marquees and all those things, you mentioned the marquee that a lot of people like to take their picture with. And look at this, Steve. That's you with the trophy there. 10th anniversary of the 2016 World Series. You can. What makes that so special? Why do so many fans love to come to that marquee right there?
Well, because the marquee for many people is home. People coming from Chicago. That is, when I go back to Chicago and I take my photo in front of the Wrigley marquee, that's what people are reliving when they come out to Sloan Park. Now, on the other side of the photo of the marquee that you're looking at right there is where there is a gentleman there who's been doing it since the ballpark opened. You can say, "Go Cubs, go!" Welcome Crawley and Friends 2026, and they'll personalize it for you. On the back side here, typically has always been the more generic, quick photo op where it would say, "Welcome to Sloan Park." Well, obviously, in conjunction with the 10-year anniversary, they have brought out the trophy for all to, get a photo op with. It was out all weekend. Transparency, I do not know for sure if it's going to be every game this spring, but certainly the first couple games it was out.
Now, I know some, people like you and I, we don't bring little kids there, but if you do have little kids, there are things for little kids to do, correct?
Absolutely. Out in the center field area, you got Clark. There you go. Clark looking good up on the mound there. Not sure who's going to throw there. Maybe Rich with his camera could tell us that. But, and honestly, the crew that works in that area, they're very welcoming to kids. And you know what? Even I've gone up there a few times and taken a few hacks at the wiffle ball. They're very welcoming. After they play a few rounds of wiffle ball there, Clark is available for a photo op. And then after Clark leaves the area, kids can continue playing. Also, what you can't see in the photo there, out beyond the center field wall there, they also have a height measurement where you can go see how tall you are compared to Clark. And new this year, they actually have a table where you can sign up for the Clark's Club or Clark's Crew, which will give you the membership and the ticket vouchers, for Wrigley Field, all the amenities that you can see online. They do offer that now for you to sign up there as well.
Now, back in the days, Fergie used to have his crew hang out there. They don't have that anymore, but I saw one picture that you had of something cool. Cubs Authentics is starting to make a presence out at Sloan Park. Where's that located?
So that is brand new this year, and Rich and I had a blast there. We walked into the home plate gate, and as you hang a left and go down the third baseline, it is right next to the concession stand. It's in like a little corner nook, and they have Authentics. It is all team issued merchandise, and Rich and I were looking, and Me being the Luke Little fan that I am, I came across 2 Luke Little team issue jerseys, the road gray and the alternate blue, and I had to grab it. And Rich, who we know is watching as well, he found the Ethan Roberts gray and blue as well. The really selling point on that was they had the rhino patch on both the So naturally we did a little shopping that day, and it's kind of like Disneyland. You have those impulse purchases and you're like, should I have done that? And at the end of the day, it was a good choice.
And Rich is saying that the authentics behind section 108. So that, like I said, I've not seen it before. I'm looking forward to it. Now, one thing, they do have a lot of cool concessions, but a lot of people like to go to the food trucks, and those rotate a lot, right?
Yeah, and I was hoping you were going to put up Chucky's. So they do alternate out, but Chucky's has definitely become a mainstay at Sloan Park. It's a breaded pork tenderloin sandwich that comes with lettuce, tomato, and mayo. And there's some additional condiments that you can add on to it. But the tenderloin itself is about as big as your face. It is much larger than the bun. It is delicious. I believe the last time we had it, I think it was about $18. But when you compare that up to a ballpark hot dog that can run $11 or $12, it's a pretty good value. And it fills you
Right.
up.
Now, what's not a good value, Steve, but we do it anyway, is the classic beer bat, which is way too overpriced, but it makes for a good photo op. But here's you and I at Sloan having a beer bat, and that's just one of those things. It's just you just got to do and say you did it, but not the best value. Remind me, what is the microbrew that I enjoy so much out there? That Four Peaks?
Yeah, the Four Peaks. Yep.
That's what I'm looking forward to right there. And I always say when you're getting your food in your go ahead.
The crew on Friday that I'm like, I was looking for the beer bat and I didn't find it for a little bit. And then Rich and I were walking around. We're like, there's a beer bat. So they do have it. So it is there again, and it is waiting for you. And as is tradition, which I believe will now be the 3rd year in a row, I'm waiting for you, Crawley.
Yep, and I think they got the Malort shots in right field. The Malort shots are available for those that do, and always a good time. But whenever I'm going back from my food, getting my food and drinks, I love taking these pictures right here. And this is kind of what, in the right field area, correct?
Yeah, that is the center field concessions.
And if people are not aware, there's Bo right there, but this is from Otis Shepard. It's from the old 50 scorecards that they created these, and they've had these huge paintings, but I just think they're so freaking cool. And yes, I have like a picture from every year that I've gone there, but I just love the way that it looks. I love those old timers, and I actually got the authentic scorecards. Our good friend Tommy Skinner got me addicted to those. So thanks a lot, Tommy, on that one.
Yeah, those are great paintings. The second one that you showed, watching from the lawn, they actually took that one down and they replaced it with a Four Peaks rendering with Sloan Park in the backdrop.
Why do they do this to me? Why do the Cubs irritate me sometimes?
To be fair, it's an advertisement, but it is a beautiful painting. It's, a little bit of both.
Now, if you're going to do you're at a ballpark, you may want to gamble. You may want to do some 50-50 raffles. We got to plug Stephanie right here because she is the queen of the 50-50 raffle. Have you ever won, Steve?
No. I mean, I am to the 50-50 raffle what you are to Cubs bingo.
Yeah. Now, I was there one time where the Salsa King of Chicago, Marty Garcia, won the largest jackpot ever. And they had a whole parade for him and everything. It was unbelievable. But if you see Stephanie out there, and trust me, you can't miss her. She always has the wildest Cub leggings. Definitely give that a shot. And I would say, Steven, you could argue there's a lot of great seats. I don't think there's a bad seat in the house in Sloan.
There really isn't. And a lot of the talk is typically about where's the shade, what's in the shaded area. And if you want shade, you want to go around section, left field line. You want to go about section 105, right around to about first base is where you're guaranteed to be in the shade. Anything else, you're going to be soaking up the sun, if not for a few innings, but for the majority of the game. Everyone talks about getting in the shade, but I got to warn people. Everyone's always worried about being in the sun too long and getting sunburned. That shade, even on an 85, 90-degree day, it could get pretty chilly. So then you're either overdressed or underdressed. So, think about what you're wanting for. If you're coming out to Arizona for a cold climate, don't be afraid of the sun.
I am not afraid of the sun. You know where we're going to be sitting in the left field berm. This is a classic photo when Taylor McGregor came out to talk to us. But to me, the berm is just so wild, just to sit there and lay down in the grass. This is the thing about Sloan is it has that minor league ballpark feel where I forget, what is it, 16,000 at Sloan? I'm not positive, 18,000. I want to say somewhere around there. But when you compare it to 40,000 at Wrigley, I just love just laying down in the grass, hanging out, having a few beers and watching the game.
That last part is a little bit subjective watching the game. I mean, I got to tell you, even Friday for opening game, hanging out with Rich and Stacy and a bunch of other friends out there, it's like we're watching the game, but, you're talking to your friend, you're looking around, you're talking to people behind you that you never even met, making fun of a White Sox jersey, and all of a sudden you got a little rapport going. And before you know it, you're talking to somebody, getting to know somebody, and it's the fourth inning. It's like, I don't even know what the score is. But, that's a great thing about spring training is I consider going to any spring training ballpark kind of like going to a club. You pay the cover charge, you go in, you make of it what you want. You want to watch the main act, you can. You want to interact, you can. You want to drink till you can't walk anymore, you can. It really is the experience that you want to make it.
I think I've done all of the above, Steve, but at the end of the day, that left field, what I like about it is seeing the bullpen and, a lot of times if you have a young kid, it's cool to bring them to left field because in between innings, not during the innings, but in between innings, they'll throw the balls up to the kids and get them. And you just get an amazing, you're just so close to the action. For me, when they took the bullpens out of Wrigley, that was just so devastating. But when you go to Sloan, you have that experience where you can watch these guys throwing bullpens and just getting a feel for it.
And again, that's part of spring training, talking about hanging out in the backfields and whatnot. That's part of the experience that you can't necessarily get at Wrigley or most big league ballparks. So when you come out to spring training, yeah, you want to watch your favorite players, you want to watch the game, but you want to make sure you indulge in the things that you can't on a regular basis. And, that's a photo that we got over the weekend of Luke warming up in the bullpen. It's that chance to get up close. It's a chance to get a wave. How you doing? They're throwing balls up to the kids every opportunity they can. They can't please everyone, but they certainly do a great job at acknowledging people and making the people that they know are watching feel welcome.
And again, it's fun. It's all about fun because of spring training. Nobody gets anything for being the champion of spring training. You're just there to watch certain players. Like there's certain guys you want to keep an eye on. Oh, there's Jefferson Rojas. I want to watch this at bat. Oh, it's you don't have to be glued to every single thing. And wins and losses don't matter. You always rather have a win, Steve, but sure. It doesn't always happen that way. But they will sing "Go Cubs Go." They will do the seventh inning stretch. So many things that, we do in Chicago. It's just 80 degrees instead of 30 degrees right now.
Yeah. And don't get too hung up on wins and losses. Flying the W at Sloan is like a beer bat. You do it for the photo op. But at the end of the day, you're going to watch the players on the field. And it's not, we all want to go see Bregman. We all want to go see Dansby and Nico. But what's really great is, I'm going to throw it back a little bit. 2016, 2015, 2014, I can now look back at spring training and say, I saw Javi Baez when he was a young prospect wearing number 70. Flip that to the fall league. I can say I saw Chris Bryant wearing number 76 when he was a hot prospect. And it's really those memories that you kind of take away from spring training and even the fall league that, wow, you never know who you might be watching. Jefferson Rojas, all kudos to him. He's a hot prospect right now, but you never know. It could be Dawson Nets who might be coming in, and all of a sudden 5 years from now, we're like, he wasn't even in the top 30, and look where he's come. So pay attention to the action. And when the main players leave the game, don't give up on the game. Don't be like, oh, who are these guys? Who's number 94? Embrace it. Check out who's on the field, and you might hear these names down the line.
Well, Steve, thank you for jumping on. We're going to have you back on to kind of talk because there are so many other parks. We just figured we couldn't get it all in today. Tell our listeners where they can find your content.
Well, right there on the screen, you can see at Steve Sher _7. That's my Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it tonight. Also Instagram. You can find me on Facebook if you want to be my friend, because I love having friends at just Steve Sher. And you could even find me at TikTok, where you might catch me doing a dance once in a while. Again, at Steve Sher _7.
Well, Steve, you see, I got my spring training hat. I got that. You got yours. So
We've been
be
planning.
ready. I will be out there soon enough, and we'll make some new memories and new pictures, my friend.
More beer bats. You got it.
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs. Have a great one, Crawley.
It's all over.